This episode of the Fight Within podcast is presented to you by Meguiar's. For over 115 years, Meguiar's has been carefully creating and producing advanced formulas with cutting-edge chemistry to deliver a show car perfect appearance. Whether you're showing on the fairway, finalizing your car for auction, or simply getting your beloved car ready for a weekend drive, Meguiar's is ready to help with their premium car care products to make every automotive surface look its absolute best. Meguiar's, reflect your passion. Make sure to visit them at meguiars.com.
What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Fight Within podcast. Today's episode, Mr. Benjamin wanted to talk about grit. So what does that mean? What does that look like? And when do you need it? So what do you want to touch on, sir?
Man, grit, we've talked about it a few times. And I seem to mention it a lot, but I think I had a few episodes ago I had said it's kind of like my life's like anthem, my motto for the last season of life I'm in.
Yeah.
And honestly, I used to always think like when people said, "Oh, you got to be gritty," or it takes grit and determination and blah blah blah, and I was like, yeah, you're just another self-help book. You're another let me feel good about myself, like that whole mentality. And honestly, yes, I was younger, I was newer in business, I thought I was like a hot shot, right? Like knew everything, blah 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 blah. But when it comes down to it, it's so true. And I wish I could go back and tell younger me and just be like, hey man, like grit doesn't mean like a cowboy term, it's not like it's not one of those things that a lot of self-helpers or motivational speakers throw out there. I mean, it is, but truly having the mentality of being gritty means so many different things to so many different people.
Yeah.
But what I have found in like business and in life as a husband, a father, a business owner, a Christian, wannabe athlete, whatever it is, being gritty, man, is simply being able to do whatever it takes to get to where you're trying to go. It doesn't mean where you're wanting to go, but even just the attempt of trying. There is a author, her name is Angela Duckworth, and I honestly think she has like the best definition and the best just overall being able to describe like what being gritty is. And essentially she breaks it down as having a passion and perseverance for something to be able to continue to do something with longevity is what grittiness is. And when I read that, I was like, wait, passion and perseverance gives you the ability to have grittiness. I started thinking about that. I was like, whoa, that's pretty accurate, like we kind of have talked about it too, but like having a passion for something enables you to continue to want to persevere, whatever it is that you're going through, right? Because if you're happy and you're passionate and you're doing what you feel like you're supposed to be doing, you are more than willing to persevere and endure a lot more heartache and pain and struggle to get to what your goals are. And so after like reading that book, I honestly was like, this is what people meant when they said you got to have grit. You got to be gritty. And I think in today's world, the climate and the culture requires you to be gritty. And it doesn't mean being gritty in like a let me roll up my sleeves and work hard, it's more of a just being able to persevere and to continue to push and to continue to go and to continue to essentially just do whatever it takes to get to wherever you need or want to go. And I have a lot of people ask me all the time, how do you do this? Or how did you do that? And looking back at things that I've had happen and things that have occurred in like my business life, it's like, honestly, we just did it. It doesn't mean we did it right, but we did it, and we had the ability to persevere in order to get to where we wanted to be.
Well, you know what you wanted though.
Yeah.
There's some direction there.
Yeah.
To get to that end goal.
And then ultimately, man, it's I literally have people ask me all the time, like, hey, I want to do this, I want to start this business, like, what do I do? And it's like, well,
get started.
You have a lot of these ideas, and you want to have a pitch perfect plan on paper, right?
Yeah.
A business plan. You need to have your outline, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got to have it all perfect. No, you don't. Like, give me that piece of paper. Let me rip it up. Let me throw it away. As long as you have a clear purpose, a vision, and where you want to go, that's all you need. The rest will fill itself in. Obviously, I'm not saying, like, you just go balls to the wall with no plan. You have to have a plan.
Yeah.
But that's honestly one of the things I get asked the most is, like, how do I do this? What do I need to do? Or, and the worst ones, man, are the ones that literally come back to me, like, a year later. Oh, yeah, I still want to do that.
So they didn't even get started.
Okay, yeah, and it's like, well, what do you mean? Well, I got busy, or life happened, or I just didn't know what to do, so I just didn't do it. And you're like, well, come on, like, figure it out.
But I think it's setting up those goals. Like, you don't even know why you want it.
Yeah.
Or you don't want it bad enough.
And I was gonna say, that's the thing is everyone wants to be their own boss. Everyone wants to. Have be a business owner, be an entrepreneur, be on the cover of whatever the heck magazine you like. Like, everyone wants that.
It's a fairy tale though.
Exactly. People don't really understand all the time. And when I say people, I mean just like a broad,
in general.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you don't understand what it takes to do what it is that you're wanting to do.
I don't think a lot of people do.
Well, and that's where I think a lot of people don't have the grit. Like, think about it.
But we were talking about social media, and social media makes it seem like you have so much free time, you have so much money in your bank account, you get to drive whatever car. They're selling this false narrative when it's really like, no, you have to wake up early. You have to want it more than they want it. If an employee is showing up to your store or to your business earlier than you are, then you don't want it bad enough. Not saying that that's the end all be all, because sometimes their schedule, maybe allows them to show up early. But
it's the mentality behind it too.
Yeah, say I'm a business owner and I have this office. I'm competitive. I'm gonna be the first person there. Oh, you show up at 5? I'm gonna be here at 4:45.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna beat me to my own business. I love that they're there early, but I think people also lose track of, on the other side of that, being an entrepreneur, there's different stages to it.
Yeah.
There's the beginning stage. There's the honeymoon stage, if you will. Like, you love it. You're going to go to seminars. You're going to do everything. You're going to read all these articles. You're going to gain knowledge. You're going to do everything so hardcore. But then what happens when you have a little bit of success and now you have 2 employees?
Yeah.
I think people don't pour into the employee and help develop them and help encourage them, because at the end of the day, they're just people. Do they work for you? Sure. But I've always told myself, like, if any of my dreams or any of my businesses ever come to fruition and they grow how I want them to, I'm never going to say that person works for me.
Yeah.
I'm always going to say that person works with me.
Yeah.
Like we're a team in this, and I think as you were talking about that, I wasn't paying attention. I was looking up a quote. One of my favorite quotes by Vince Lombardi, who's a very, is a Hall of Fame coach for the Green Bay Packers, said, he said, "Gentlemen, we are going to relentlessly chase perfection, knowing full well we will not catch it, because nothing is perfect except God. But we are going to relentlessly chase it, because in the process we will catch excellence. I am not remotely interested in just being good."
Yeah. Dude, relentlessly chase perfection.
Which is insane.
Well, I mean, and to tie it back to being gritty, like, relentlessly chasing perfection, that's going to require freaking grit and determination, right? Like, that's huge. That's an awesome quote. I don't think I've ever heard that one.
Where would you say, because you don't talk about it enough. I don't know why, and we've never talked about it. I've never asked you, but do you think you got that attitude in the military?
I think it's both. My dad, for sure. He should be, like, towards the tail end of his quote unquote working career.
Yeah.
And he's working more now at the tail end than he was when he first started.
Because he wants to, or because of necessity?
I think it's honestly both.
Yeah.
I think, well, one, we live in Southern California, right?
Yeah, it's expensive.
But two,
So I'm moving to Tennessee.
right?
No, I'm just kidding.
He's the type of guy that he's going to always work hard until he can no longer.
Yeah.
But his goal for working hard is not for driving a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. It's to be able to make sure he knows that he can take care of his friends and his family around them if they need it. And so I think growing up around that and that mentality, he was a business owner.
Yeah.
Him and my mom started their first business together. I think I was just born. So I grew up around or having parents that were young entrepreneurs. I think my dad was 22 when I was born. So being 22, starting a brand new business after the Marine Corps, because he was in the Marine Corps also.
Nice.
So I think that's where I got it. I grew up being in it. I grew up watching my parents be freaking gritty. Like I remember them picking us up from school, or having my aunts and uncles or my grandma pick us up. Actually right down the street from here, which is really funny.
Yeah.
And they would either drop us off there, and I would sit in one of their offices and do homework, and just watching them, hustle and hustle and hustle. Mm-hmm. I just remember watching them just always bust their butts in order to give my sister and I, and literally a ton of my family and friends, jobs and comfort, and that piece of just knowing, like, hey, I'm going to be able to help people out if they need me.
Yeah.
So I think I got a lot of that from them. And then being 18 and going in the Marine Corps, I think obviously, as like a young man and being molded, I was kind of forced into leadership roles pretty early at a really young age. Because now when I think about 18 years old, 19 years old, when you look at it now at this stage of life that we're in, I'm like, dude, those guys, they're young, right? But when I was there, I was like, oh, I'm a macho guy. I just, I'm a Marine, blah, blah, blah. I can shoot a rifle 500 yards away. Like all those stupid things that you're like, blah, blah, blah. But I think being forced into some of the leadership positions I got put in made me kind of grow up faster. Yeah. And it really did kind of like just hit the nail on the head, where it really instills like a work ethic in you, right? Like it's one of those things where you go until the job gets done. Yeah. If I didn't go until that job gets done, it's going to be someone else coming at me, right? Yeah. And it's one of those things where I think it set me up for where I am at now.
How do you keep that mindset though? Because there's, like, I love saying, I always talk about, it's not over. You don't stop when you're tired. You stop when you're done.
Yeah. Well, for now, I've said it before, but my family. Yeah. My family drives me, right? Like, I want to make sure I can do what my parents did. Not just for my family, but for everybody that I encounter and that I'm around. I want to be able to be in a position where if you came to me and you needed financial help, emotional support, mental support, physical support, whatever the heck it is, particularly financially though, I want to make sure I'm in a position where God's blessed me enough to be able to bless other people. And having that drive plus making sure my family is taken care of is honestly what makes my clock tick.
Have you ever fallen into like the comparison?
Oh, all the time.
Bubble.
Particularly, like, I would say, like, honestly, the first 5 to 7 years of being a business owner, it was always, how the heck did this company do this? Or how did this guy get that? How did that girl do this? It was always those things. And I would get really down on myself. And, I mean, I still will once in a while, I'll scroll Instagram or something like that. And I'm like, how in the heck is Joe Schmo doing this? Yeah. And I'm like, what the heck? And at the end of the day, I've come to a realization within the last couple years, year and a half, that I don't freaking care. Like, great for you.
Can't. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the hardest part is being happy for somebody else when they're doing the same thing.
I think it's without sounding like lame, but it's a sign of maturing, right? Like, I think right now in the cycle of life that I am in.
Mm-hmm.
I think I could have more, be more, do more if I wanted to sacrifice time with my family or
Your
time
priorities are different now, though.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're chasing after it and you're trying to become the bazillionaire, it's like, oh, I need to be doing this. I need to be doing that. And it's like, honestly, no, you don't.
And I've talked about it before. I saw people like, I love Bellator, and I love all the opportunities they gave me and the chances to fight for them. But let's just be honest, like the UFC's where it's at. Like everyone wants to get to the UFC.
Yeah.
You know, for whatever reason, name recognition or whatnot. But if you think about it from a business standpoint, maybe a well-established fighter is probably better off in Bellator because of sponsorships. But that's a whole nother episode. The reason I'm bringing that up is because I would see guys that I would be in the training room with. I'm like, bro, like I'm better than you. How'd you make it there? And I'd be happy for him, like genuinely happy for him. But there was a part of me that would also be like, why are you there and why am I not there?
Yeah.
Like what's going on? And then that was in the midst of my fighting career. Later on, I was like, man, that's really cool that they made it there. You know, they obviously worked hard or they got the right opportunity and it happened for them. Great. Well, now I'm shifted into other areas of my life that I'm trying to develop. And I feel like now I'm in competition with myself. And I think enough people don't get to that point where they're like in competition with themselves and challenging themselves.
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to get better? How am I going to be better than I was yesterday? Even 1% better.
Yeah.
Just a little bit better. Get a little bit better today because tomorrow you're going to be better than you were yesterday.
Yeah. Well, it's setting little goals, right? Like it could be something as simple. And again, dude, it requires being gritty, right? Because if you don't have that passion and the perseverance and the willingness, the relentless pursuit to being perfect, like you're not going to be able to do any of that. And so I think a lot of people, and what I've learned through like my business coaching is like setting little tiny goals. Like you and I have talked about sitting down and putting little tiny goals down. Like we could have wrote as a little goal, putting up our sound pads, whatever these things are called.
Panels.
Like thank you.
Whatever. Sound
panels. Those things, that could have been a little goal, right?
Yeah.
Getting Michael to not take forever and make them. He didn't even take that long. I think he built them in like a day. Anyways, but you know, like that could have been little goals for the Fight Within podcast, right? And I used to always be like, I don't need to write goals. It's all up here, right? It's all up in my mind.
Yeah.
But, being able to create those little goals, to be able to be a little bit better, to continue to strive. I think the significance and the difference between knowing a goal and seeing a goal actually accomplished is the simple fact of seeing it. If we didn't set goals, but we just did it, there's an accomplishment, right? When we set up our studio, we felt accomplished.
Sure.
If we would have like wrote all these things down and checked them off, and we saw physically on paper, hey, we were here, we were at, point C, and now we're at G. Like seeing that progressive,
victories.
But it catapults you into building a momentum of creating success through goals.
But when do you think? I think it's very easy in doing that to have this false hope or like get distracted. Where is that? The separation between unrealistic goals, because I've had moments where I'm like, I'm just going to stop everything I'm doing and I'm going to focus on the podcast. But is that the smartest thing to do right now? Probably not, because I have a rent, I have 3 kids, I have a wife, I got bills. It's probably not smart to just completely stop everything I'm doing and say I'm going to focus on just the podcast, and I know that it's going to happen. Now, does a part of me still want to do that? 100%.
Yeah.
A big part of me is like, especially when I have bad days or I get pissed off, I'm like, no. If I just stop and focused on marketing the podcast, finishing the website, posting all the time, like it's gonna garner that attraction. It's happened before, you know, but I think maybe now it's just God saying, hey, it's not time yet. maybe hold off on that.
Yeah.
You know, like I love the passion and the aggression, but it's not time for that. And I think when it is time for that, it'll be very, very clear.
Yeah.
Then God will just be like, look, man, bam, you've had that desire. It's time now.
Yeah.
Like get in the ring. It's your time to fight. Go.
I think to answer that question, if I'm going to answer it off of like a quote unquote like straight business answer,
Yeah.
it would be having obviously quick goals, right?
Yeah.
The things like doing what we just did, buying chairs, buying a rug, getting it hung on the wall, whatever. Those are quick goals. But using SMART goals, which don't quote me on this, but it's specific,
Mexican? Okay.
specific, measurable, attainable, relatable, in time, right? So when you take those principles into play and put those as goals, SMART goals,
Yeah.
you list goals that are SMART. And I think that's what kind of helps you stay on track. Those are SMART goals. It doesn't mean those are your end all be all goals. You need to have those. You need to have the vision. You need to have the creative flexibility to dream, right? You got to dream, but making SMART goals and hitting those is kind of what you just said to be able to keep yourself on track, like using the acronym SMART and then goals.
I think it's easy when you're here too. It's like when I'm here and I'm involved, I'm like, man, like look at the progression we've made.
Yeah.
But because I'm doing it, because we're having an episode and recording one, I'm like, man, if I just go and focus on this, things can happen so much faster.
Oh, for sure. But we'd have to move to, backwoods Tennessee somewhere, so we don't have to,
Billy.
pay the Southern California, freaking Billy, pay the Southern California living expenses. But
yeah.
I mean,
well, I think it's also, and maybe I'm naive to it, but I'm going to bet on myself. We were talking about it in the car. I'm going to bet on myself 100% of the time. Why? Because I believe in my abilities. And I think maybe that's an athlete mentality and doesn't translate well to business, but in my experiences, it has. Because it's like for same reason as you, my family motivates me.
Yeah.
And so well, they got to eat. And that's why you get motivated when you go and compete. When you're getting paid, it's like, no, I can double the amount I'm making if I just win. Well, like you're literally taking food away from my kids.
yeah.
And so it's like that's a big part of me. That's my biggest struggle right now at this moment is like, no, like I believe in myself. I believe in my talents and abilities. And I believe in my work ethic because of things I've learned and the progressions I've made with myself and the discipline I have now. But then the other side's like, no, like be smart.
Yeah.
And write your SMART goals
I'd say,
and
well,
do those
to you,
things.
sir, I would say you need to write down some SMART goals.
Tell me, baby. I'm here.
And then I will talk you through how to work backwards.
Aren't you a business consultant? Isn't that what you do?
No, but honestly, I mean, unfortunately, it is what it is. And I feel you too. Like I have caught myself biting off way more than I can chew over the years. And
yeah, but I think there's a difference between like doing too much and focusing on one thing.
Yeah,
because it's like no, go for it.
100%.
Because no one else should want it more than us.
Yeah.
No one should want this podcast to be successful more than us. They shouldn't. Your wife loves you. My wife loves me. They're both awesome.
But they would probably prefer us at home too.
Yeah, but they should not want us to be more successful than we want.
Yeah.
Because this is our hard work. This is what we're doing. And now like listening to it out loud, I'm like, man, that sounds so prideful and arrogant. But it's like there's a little bit of that has to be in there with just a little bit. It's like seasoning.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
And Sam, there's a difference between if you were like a prideful, humble, or a not very humble, arrogant guy, like I would for sure not want to be a partner with you. Yeah. So I think there's a difference between having the grit, right? Yeah. Everything you just described is you being gritty and wanting to succeed. And believing in yourself, because if we don't believe in ourselves, how the heck are we going to believe in our kids? How the heck are we going to believe in God providing for our families?
Yeah.
You have to have belief, but belief with also understanding that we are human, we're going to need help, we're going to get knocked down, we got to get back up, and we got to be freaking gritty.
Yeah. we got to win that fight within.
Exactly. But dude, Thanks for letting me talk about being gritty.
No, I think it's good. I think we need to get, especially next episode, you know, or obviously we're gonna have a guest. I think we need to get into some really rad, like, military stories, because not people have seen it on TV or they see pictures, but they don't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like to be in that uniform, to be in a country and in a place that's not home, and to literally have to fight for your life. I think there's a grit in that.
Yeah.
And it takes a very special type of person to do that, because even, pardon my French, when you're a kid and you go in there and you're a jackass,
Yeah.
you come out a man.
For sure.
And so I think that's a unique, like growth story. It's
Yeah.
kind of like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly.
Maybe I'll ask a couple of my Marine buddies to come on.
That'd be rad, man.
Let them share their stories
For sure.
if they would be willing. I don't know.
Yeah, of course. We never want to, step on anyone's toes or be like, no, you have to do this.
I'll force them to do it.
All right,
so if
that
you guys
works
heard
too.
that, I'm coming for you.
You have to.
Well, my dude, it's been great. I think we might try to go to Burritos La Palma. We had Alberto on a few episodes ago. He's never been. I went like a few days ago.
Wow. Thanks.
But yeah.
You good?
I'm good.
Awesome. Well, we're out.
All right.
Remember, guys, that everything was impossible until someone did it. So, guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/The Fight Within Podcast. Find us on all audio platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, anywhere you guys like to listen to it. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for continuing to listen to it and watch it. We can see the growth on our analytics, and just want to thank you guys for supporting us. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Kingdom Nutrition. Make sure you guys go and visit their site over at kingdomnutrition.com and enter promo code MFW10 to get 10% off your next purchase. Kingdom Nutrition carries the best sports supplements on the market. They manufacture and curate their own line of supplements with the highest quality ingredients, including a lean protein, weight gainer protein, pre-workout, BCAAs, and an array of other products. They've recently created the world's first vegan chickpea protein, and it tastes amazing. I'm a big dude. I like food, and I like chocolate. So when they told me it comes in chocolate and vanilla, I got really happy. But if you're a workout enthusiast and you want to change up your diet, change up your protein, go check out their vanilla chickpea protein. It mixes well with anything. It'll blend great with a smoothie. So to get your hands on any of these products, just make sure and go visit kingdomnutrition.com. Remember to enter promo code MFW10 and get 10% off your next purchase. Let's go.